Hey everyone, what's up? It's me, Joel D. In this video, we're going to talk about on-page SEO templates, and we're going to get you set up with 3 main templates for your blog posts. So when you're ready to create and publish your articles, you're going to have these templates to go from that are already configured in an SEO friendly way, where you kind of can just plug in your main primary keyword or key phrase into the article and then create awesome content around it. So it makes things a little easier. It's easier to scale, and I think it's going to be very useful for you when you're starting out. Now, the 3 articles that I'm referring to are: 1, an informational how-to article. So this is like a step-by-step guide that you're giving someone. You provide value, you know what you're talking about, and you're just going to give them advice on how to do something. In my case, in this niche that I've chosen for this course, the dog anxiety niche, it would be something like how to handle your dog's anxiety with a step-by-step list. And within those how-tos, no matter what niche you're in, you're usually utilizing tools or products. And within your article, you're going to be incorporating some affiliate links in there and affiliate marketing, so you're monetizing. And again, it's just a informational piece that is going to provide value to your audience, but also having that monetization aspect. Next would be a single product review. So maybe we want to drive people directly to our single product review within Google, or we can link within our informational how-to article potentially to a single product review. So if I'm talking about something in the dog anxiety niche, I'm showing them how to manage that anxious dog, and there's a product that is highly recommended from myself. I could either, 1, link them to the product itself, which would be the affiliate link, and I'd get a commission on that, or I could give them more information and send them to a single product review for that, which I give my, pros and cons. I give my whole take on that specific product, and then within that page, I would direct them to the product itself and get a commission. So there's a couple different approaches we can take. I'm going to walk you through both of those. And then the last one is a rank list review. So say you have a list of top 5 or top 10 best, dog anxiety blankets. That could be one that we use, and that probably will be the one. We can then incorporate into either Google SEO just to drive people directly to that page, where people can quickly look. As we saw in the examples in previous videos, they were offering, those affiliate links right at the top, but then they would actually get into the ranking and why they were ranked where they were. So 3 different things. Also, in the rank list review, I could link to that particular post from both of the other articles and vice versa. So within the ranking list, I can link internally to each single product review if I wanted to write a single product review for each item on the list. The possibilities are endless. I could also, from the single product review, if you don't necessarily like this product, here's where you can see our full list of what we recommend. Or again, everything else could be monetized in a way that we're pushing out to affiliate products, or we're internally pushing them toward more valuable content around this whole niche. So it's a way to really key in and focus on your niche, but there's many ways that you can provide valuable information. So 1, how-tos; 2, single product review; 3, a rank list review. I'm going to give you a template for all 3, and let's get started doing that. So first, I'm going to head over to my WordPress dashboard. I'm going to go to posts, and I'm going to add new. So this is exactly how you would add a blog post. I'm going to do that, but it's just going to be a generic template, and I'll not publish it. And going forward, I'll just refer to this post as my template to create a how-to article. So I'll name it template, maybe give it a little bracket just to remind myself this is a template and don't publish it. And then I'll name it how to utilize key phrases within your blog post. So this is, again, the point of this is, for one, I'm reminding myself it's a template and it's for the how-to type informational article. And then I'm also reminding myself to add my key phrase for whatever that how-to is going to be about and within your blog post. So this would not obviously be templatized as in just use this, how to utilize and whatever your key phrase is. It could be something like, if dog anxiety was my key phrase that I want to target within the article, it would be, you know, how to manage dog anxiety with these tricks or something like that. So I'm going to click on edit with Elementor now. I'm not going to publish it. I'm just going to click edit with Elementor, and it's going to bring me out to a page that I can actually design and create as a template. Now that I'm on the Elementor page, I actually wanted to add a primary image for this blog post within the last screen. So I'm going to go back, toggle back to that generic editor and come over here and set a featured image. And I'm just going to click this dog post. And one thing that I want to do from an SEO template perspective is I want that key phrase to be in this alt text. So I'll put key phrases in however you want to structure the alt text is up to you, but I'm saying key phrases because remember that's our target keyword here. The key phrases will be added here. You can generate a sentence here, but this is going to bring additional SEO value because you're providing an alt text for your image, telling readers what the image is about. And in my case, I would have alt text something like woman showing her dog how to deal with dog anxiety, something like that. And then I'm going to click on set featured image. Here you have it. And I'm going to say save draft. Come back here. Click F5. And wait for this to load, and it should be underneath the title. Perfect. So I can do that. The other way I could have done that is if I didn't add a featured image that way, I could have just dragged in an image and placed it in here the same way. But I like to set it as a featured image. And also what I could do is create alt text around this when I chose my image. So I could have done it this way as well. But I'm going to stick with the way we did it there and add it on the generic editor. I'll delete this. So now right away we have a title. We have our uncategorized topic, so we could actually remove this, or what I'll do eventually is I'm going to add categories. So just to split out our blog posts and articles by category, like whether it be dog anxiety chewables or dog anxiety blankets or something in that regard, I can categorize this. So right now I'll keep this as is. Now before I start building my template, I want to go out to Google and I want to confirm what how-to articles in the dog anxiety niche are ranking, and I want to try to assimilate my structure according to what theirs are, and they're going to be pretty similar in regard to what I would do anyway, but I always want to confirm that. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put a how-to first, to how to help an anxious dog, and I'm going to click enter, and now I'm going to come up with these articles that are ranking on the first page. So helping an anxious dog is the one I want to click on because it's thebark.com. I already saw that in a few of the research tools that we were looking at, and I know this is one of my competitors. So as you can see, they have the title, anxious dog is in the title. These are just the things that you want to look at real quick. They actually added a subtitle and also have anxious dog in there. They have anxious dog up here in their URL. If I scroll down to the intro paragraph, they're likely going to have anxious dog within here, and you can see that they're using a lot of derivatives of that main keyword. So they have dog here, anxious here, dog anxiety. What else? They have anxious dogs, which is the main keyword, and dog with anxiety. You can see what they're doing here. They're really, I mean, not keyword stuffing. I won't call it that, because all of this should make sense, and Google's good at picking up if you're just keyword stuffing. So don't do that. Make sure everything is fluid, but you do want to utilize these derivatives of your main primary keyword or key phrase. Scrolling down even further, the next thing that I would do is exactly this. So you want some sort of table of contents, or what you want to do next. This actually is not a table of contents, so that's something I would change. It looks like this is just signs of dog anxiety. So I always like to have a table of contents type thing here that is linkable and anchors to that section of your article, and they're actually not doing that. So I would have, here's what to look forward to in this article, and you can see they're utilizing the numbers correctly, or you would have steps or whatever depending on what type of article you're creating for an informational purpose. But I would typically anchor that. So in our template, we're going to have a table of contents that anchors to sections within here. It just makes it a lot easier to read, and if people want to look at something specifically, they can do that. You can also see within the tags here, they are adding dog anxiety. They're adding dog anxiety. And then within the H3 tags, I believe they're using, you're still going to want to incorporate some of that in here. I'm looking into this further. It looks like they're actually missing a lot of opportunity here. So I want to confirm that. I'm going to look in SEO minion. This will give me a better outlook. Yeah, I mean, it's a 1,600 word article. We could definitely create something longer and more unique and provide much more information and value. The description's too long. It's double of what it should be. The H tags are not set up appropriately at all, actually. I thought they would be, but even the H2 tags aren't showing this dog anxiety, which that would be fine, but the H2 tags that they're using aren't really making sense, and they shouldn't really be using H2 tags for, you know, follow us or any of this type of stuff. So there is definitely room to enhance our article and create an article that would compete with this and surpass this, as long as we could set it up properly. But just because you're setting up the SEO properly doesn't mean you don't have to have awesome content. But again, this content is nothing, I mean, that we couldn't create that is more exciting and provide better value. That I'm definitely sure of. Okay, so that's really how I run through these types of things. The next thing that I look for is monetization on the site, and as you can see, it is just jam-packed with ads. So they're getting most of their income from ads, which I'm not a huge fan of, unless you're getting an insane amount of volume of traffic, because I mean, you're not going to get a ton of money if you're just doing ads. So let's see if they're using something else. Double click. So these are all ads pop up here, ads pop up there. So I prefer other monetization strategies that are going to help us out. Here's an example of what I did say. We want people to opt in. So in the article, they're creating a form here and putting it between a paragraph where you could easily sign up and opt in. So that's how they're generating their email list. I like that. We'll be doing that as well. Here's another just simple ad. I mean, they could probably, if this is getting a lot of traffic, if they incorporated like even an Amazon product when it comes to medication or CBD oils, there would be a much higher likelihood they'd be earning more money. So we can take this and we can definitely improve upon it, create better monetization strategies, and just outperform this overall. Another thing to look at is these links that they're providing. So you can see that they have internal links. So this goes into the BARC, so they're internal. They also have, let's see, some external links, I'm sure. If I scroll up, oh, here you go, fearfuldogs.com. So they're providing external links. This is all good for SEO. You're interlinking sites externally and internally in pages. So Google likes to see that. Yeah, I mean, again, this is a good starting point, and this is number 3, I believe, for anxious dog on Google. And there is no doubt in my mind that I could come up with an article that is better than this that can rank higher. They're also using a category here. It's a little different of a setup. And notice that this initial article, and this is probably why they're so high, because they probably got a ton of traffic since 2014. They had this article. But what we'll want to do as well is you can see they're updating it consistently. So March of 2020, I mean, that was months ago, but you can still see that they're staying on top of this because it's probably one of their main traffic drivers for their entire website, if I were to guess. We could actually look up that as well in Ubersuggest. Okay, so I just showed you kind of the process to review a competitor's site while you're creating this template for yourself, or while you're using mine, doesn't matter. But look for your own niche and look for the articles within your niche, see what they're doing well and why they're ranking so high, and then try to incorporate a template for yourself that you could always go in and fine tune and tweak as needed, or as time goes on and Google changes their algorithms, you can make changes to your template and you can just keep going from there instead of recreating the wheel every time for each of your articles. Now I'm going to head back over to my template and I'm going to start building upon this. So I'm going to add first text editor. This will be my intro paragraph. So I'm going to just type that in to remind myself. Here's where that will live. Intro paragraph, where I'll add my main key phrase and also derivatives of that key phrase. So again, just not always using just the main key phrase. So for dog anxiety, we want to use things like dogs with anxiety, or anxiety in dogs, or anxious dogs, or anxious puppies, something that's related but not exactly that key phrase. We don't want to just keep saying dog anxiety, dog anxiety, dog anxiety. You want to break it up. You want it to be fluid. You want it to make sense. Now I can also come over and maybe I want to make that intro have a drop cap. So all I have to do for that is I'm in this paragraph. I can come here and click drop cap and it's going to give me that I. I don't really like the I like that unless it was more in a different font family, but maybe the will work better. So this intro paragraph will include my main key phrase and also derivatives of that key phrase. And when I click off of that, maybe that the will look better. Still not a big fan, but you could do that and it'll probably look better if you have something like more of a Times New Roman type font. And if you look at our competitors, they have something similar to that. All right, I'll keep that as is though for now. But what I will do is add some Lorem Ipsum text just to make it fill in and look more like, and see how I did that. Now, I just wanted it to look more legitimate as a template and give me a sense of what the page is really going to look like. But what I just did was copy and paste this directly into here. And remember, in an older video I said sometimes that's an issue. So if you do copy paste, make sure you do it in here as plain text, and then it'll pick up the same text that you're using in here, because if not, sometimes it messes things up and you don't even realize it, and before you know it, you have two different fonts on here when you're looking at your article, and that's not a good look. So I'll do this again. And now I have two paragraphs. I am going to bold this part just to remind myself again of main key phrases to add here, and also derivatives. So I'm going to highlight this whole thing, bold it, and now it's just going to remind me, could even underline it. And this is going to remind me now when I'm creating my articles to have my main key phrase and derivatives of that key phrase in my intro paragraph. Now I want to add a table of contents to come over here, and that's going to be anchoring sections within the post. So if I click on something in the table of contents, it'll scroll it down as an anchor directly to that portion of the article. So to do that, I'm going to have to go back into my WordPress dashboard, and there's actually a plugin we can utilize for that. So I'll go back to my dashboard, and I'm going to go to plugins, click add new, and then I'm going to search for table of contents. And there are a few of these tools that are pretty good. I've used a couple of them, but the one that I like to use the most is this one right here. 40,000 active installations, 438 reviews, and there's 5 stars. You'll see this easy table of contents. I've used this one too, and it's pretty good as well, but they don't update it as frequently, and it's untested on my version, so I'll definitely go with Lucky WP table of contents. I'll click install now. Click activate. Now that it's active, I will go to settings and table of contents. And that is how you would get to your table of contents plugin settings. And I'm going to keep everything as is to start off, because once we add a table of contents to a page or a post, you can actually customize it any way you want. And when we do that, if I find a setting that I like, I can come back in here and make those adjustments so it happens automatically. However, we're creating our post as a template, and that's really the only place I plan on using it for now. And when I copy or duplicate this post or this template into an actual post, all those settings will go along with it. So it's not really necessary to make any changes yet here. Okay. Now I'll hop back over to my my template post, and I'll scroll down, and what I'm going to want to do first before I even add the table of contents to make sure something shows is add a couple of headings. So I'll just grab a heading, throw it in here. I'll also grab some text underneath, and that'll just be, I'll copy this and paste that in here. So it's just giving a little space and seeing what it would really look like. And then what I can do actually is pull up this text and put it in the same section as this paragraph, and then I can remove this. And what I can do is just duplicate this a couple of times so I can see what the table of contents is going to look like from a structure perspective. So let me just duplicate this twice. And now I have 3 headers. I'll name them 1, 2, 3. And now above the first header and after the second, or and after the intro, I want that table of contents to exist. So I'm going to add a section and just a single column section. And then I'm going to come back to my elements and find the table of contents. And there it is, the WordPress one. This is all the other ones are not table of contents, or there's this locked one, which is specific if you have a premium plan for Elementor. So I'm going to pull in the WordPress table of contents. It's going to load for a second, and then there it goes. So I can now see that I have each of my 3 headings that are showing up in the table of contents. I'll go over to the actual preview, and I'm going to refresh. And I could have just updated here and it would have automatically refreshed this. But now I can come down and you can see what this looks like. I want to test the headings, make sure the anchors work. First one works, second one works, and the third one works. So perfect. That's exactly what we want. And by the way, we're not just adding a table of contents for the fun of it. There's 2 big reasons. One is usability, user experience. It just gives your reader what the article is about, an intro, and then tells you exactly how your article is structured and provides you with an easy way to get to those areas, especially when you have a very long article. It's very helpful. Not only that, there are reasons for SEO. Search engines love this because it's giving them also an idea of what the article is about in a structured way. So when they see a table of contents, they know exactly how your site's structured, and if you're doing this correctly, they're gonna really reward you for that, because obviously they're programmed in a way that wants to give their users the best experience. So if you're providing that great experience, that's just gonna up your rankings. Let's head back over to the Elementor page, and I'm going to click update. And as you can see, after I click update, you'll notice that my template has is updating as well. So it automatically refreshes, just an FYI. I could have done that last time, and then when I click on it, it's the newest version. But what I want to do now is actually edit this. You'll notice that it looks different in the editor versus what you see on the page, but we can make some adjustments to this, and we can do that by clicking on the edit here, which we're already on, and clicking customize. And this is going to pull up a little dialog box where I can make some edits to this. So first thing that I want to change is the title. I don't want it to just say contents, I want it to say table of contents. And I'll click save. Now it says table of contents. Next, I want to remove the hide option. I don't think that's really worth it. So I'm going to unclick that and click save. And that should be removed. There we go. And now I want to change a little bit of just the look and feel. I don't think that's terrible. I mean, you could leave it as is, but which I probably will. I'm not gonna mess around too much. I don't want you guys getting hung up in too much of the design elements like that. Sometimes I used to be like that all the time, where I would focus so much time on making everything perfect, and you do not want to do that, because most of the time it has zero impact on anything, and you're wasting a lot of time for getting everything up, get it running in a good structured way. Don't rush that part. If it doesn't look the best, I'm telling you that is small potatoes compared to a lot of this. So I would keep that in mind when you're going through this entire site. Make the layout correct, structure it correctly, have the right items in the right places, but don't worry too much about the appearance of it. unless it's completely all over the place, different colors and whatnot. Obviously, fix that. But at this point, we just want to make sure that we're getting set up in the correct way, and we can test all that other stuff later. So this is taking a while to load. Here we go. So now you can see it's just table of contents and the links. Now I want to go back to my Elementor template and really focus on the H1, H2, and H3 tags. And before I do that, I do want to apologize if you noticed a change in my audio. I just realized that the playback was really low and saw that there were some filters missing on my microphone that I added back. So hopefully this sounds better now, and sorry about that. Now getting back to the H1, H2, H3 tags, we always want to make sure that our title is an H1 tag, and we only want one H1 tag. Never have 2, 3, or 4 H1 tags. We want to keep one. And the way to check that for this, because we didn't add this manually, this is part of the simple editor that we have in WordPress. I can right click and inspect in a Google browser anyway, or Chrome browser, and I can see that it is an H1 tag. So that's just confirming that it's set correctly, and it always will be. I've never seen it not. So if it is by default from WordPress, they will have this as an H1 tag. Then after the intro and before the table of contents, I always like to add an H2 tag or an H2 heading. So I will add a section here and pull in a heading. And what I do with this is typically label the table of contents. So not here like the table where I have the heading table of contents here. Sometimes I'll even remove that. But what I like to do is actually label what the list is going to be about. So for instance, if this title is about, you know, how to make your dog less anxious, I could have down here 12 steps maybe. So I would label it 12 steps to free your dog from anxiety, something like that. So this is just telling Google we're talking about dog anxiety. I have an intro, I have 12 steps to free your dog from anxiety, and then I would show them 12 steps. It's all in a hierarchy that Google likes to crawl your site with, and if they're seeing this setup, it's going to be helpful for you to rank higher because it's telling them exactly what you're providing. Now, obviously, if it was 12 steps, I would need 12 steps here. It would make sense. So right now, I'll just keep 3 steps. 3 steps to free your dog from anxiety. This is an H2 tag, and then any numbered step or whatnot would also be H2 tags. So these are H2 tags. And then within each H2 tag, I'd break out some H3 tags as well to separate some of the article. Obviously, this is all bunched together, so it looks funny right now. But once you lengthen the text of all your articles or all your paragraphs and sections, it's going to look a lot better. So again, H1, one H1 tag. You can have multiple H2 tags, and within each H2 tag, we're going to have H3 tags. So step 1, and I'll just give you a quick example. So let's just say step 1 was to document all dog anxiety symptoms. So I could come here, put 1, document all dog anxiety symptoms. Step 2 could be find an anxiety focused dog expert. So I can come here to find an anxiety focused dog expert. So you can see I'm kind of using derivatives of that keyword too. I'm still incorporating anxiety a lot. I can start incorporating anxious, dog, obviously. So we're still on that path, and by the end of this we'll be able to use Yoast to see where we stack up and make changes as needed. So step 3, we'll just say execute your dog, and I'll stay consistent without capitalizing, your dog anxiety treatment plan. All right, and I'll number it number 3, and here's the brief outline. Again, I'll go back. H1 is all about, you know, this key phrase would change into something related to dog anxiety. Then H2 is 3 steps to free your dog from anxiety. Here's the table of contents, step 1. And when I update this, by the way, the table of contents will change to the new tags. So 3 steps to free your dog from anxiety. 1, document all dog anxiety symptoms. 2, find an anxiety focused dog expert. 3, execute your dog anxiety treatment plan. Okay. Now what we want to do in this article is, the more value you're bringing, the clearer your directions are. You want to get as granular as possible in any article that you create. 1, it's going to give you more words. Google likes that. They like lengthy articles. I mean, it's just showing them that this has everything potentially that their audience member may be looking for, especially if you structure it in a good way. So what we can do is start incorporating H3 tags in here as well. So H3 tags is basically going to give us a process within the H2 tag on how you're going to execute that plan. So we're going 1 step further. So I'm going to pull in a heading tag, and I could even add a different section for now. Enter a new heading, but I want this to be an H3 heading. And essentially what this is going to do is document all dog anxiety symptoms. You're going to give a little brief intro on why you want to do that, and then your heading tag or your H3 tags will be, you know, something in a step-by-step process of how to document all dog anxiety symptoms. So step 1 may be, let's say, get a dog anxiety journal. I'm no dog expert, by the way. I don't know if that would be accurate, but just as an example. And then we're going to also pull in some content around how to do that. So maybe you have recommendations for journals. Maybe you have some advice on which stores have these journals. You can just let them know anything and everything about getting a dog journal. So I can duplicate this now a couple times, just like we were doing before. I'll just say 3. So now I have 3 steps to find a journal, and these again are all H3 tags. So H3, H3, H3. So step 2 could be, you know, just giving them more advice. Right here is how we're going to show them how to get a dog anxiety journal. This may be, let me think, maybe when is your dog most anxious? So step 2, determine when your dog is most anxious. So now I'm using the word anxious and dog, derivative again. So you can see how this is starting to stack up. Step 3 may be something like, what triggers your dog's anxiety? So step 3, document what triggers your dog's anxiety. So now I have dogs in there. That's a little bit of an iteration. And then within each of these H3 tags, we're giving, again, granular information. So if I looked at this quickly, I'm going to click update and just look at it from our preview. I can see how this is starting to, add up. So I want to look at my on-page SEO from SEO minion. And I'll do that now. Analyze on-page SEO, and I want to show you what this should look like. So when I was showing you before kind of the messy, not so good structure that some of our competitors had, we're going to be much more aligned, much more structured. So our H1 tag, we have one of them like we wanted. We don't have a description yet, and this is too long, but it's not real. We have the word template in there, and it's not really our title anyway. We have one H1 tag, we have an H2 tag, and we'll assume that, again, key phrases is actually dog anxiety. Now our H2 tags are saying we have 3 steps to free your dog from anxiety. Here's step 1, here's step 2, here's step 3, all H2 tags. This post navigation we can get rid of. I'm not sure why that's always there at first. I'll show you a way to get rid of that. And then H3s are step 1, get a dog anxiety journal. Step 2, determine when your dog is most anxious. 3, it's just giving more granularity to your article. It's giving more substance to it. But this is how search engines are reading your content. They're not reading it the way that you think they are, just as a whole. They're working through this list, and you're just showing them almost in every H tag some form of dog anxiety or anxious dog or treatment or trainers, and you can always go back to your list. So I actually have that available, so I could come back to my pure list. So this isn't my narrowed down list, this has everything, but I could even look in here and compare or add specific words within there that make sense. So for instance, what did we have? One of these kind of made sense. It was dog trainer, so dog anxiety trainer. So I could come back to this article, and I don't think that I had dog anxiety trainer. I think I had expert, maybe. Yeah, here we go. Find an anxiety focused dog expert. I could change that to, dog anxiety trainer. So that's a simple example. I don't think it's going to bring much value, but you can work from a list like that to kind of iterate your article. So do you see how this is stacking up? Hopefully you do. And we're going to continue to do that. And you can see my table of contents is also including H3s. So these are my H2 tags, 3 steps to free your dog from anxiety. And then we have step 1, step 2, step 3. And then within step 1, we have this 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. So we're using numbers. So I'm actually going to get rid of these numerical values, and I'll show you how to do that as well. Okay, so we're starting to shape up. We have our title, an image, a little intro paragraph. We're explaining what our article is about, providing the table of contents based on that, then providing them with the steps that we mentioned in the table of contents with additional step-by-step guides within our embedded into our H2 steps. So it's just giving that granularity, and we'll do that all the way down this article. And this could be, a much bigger article, but obviously we're going to have to fill it in with great content. We're going to add infographics, we're going to add images, we're going to incorporate links, internal links, external links, and anything else that's just going to provide our audience and our visitors with the most value that we can bring. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to my Elementor template, and I do want to change the table of contents. So we're already clicked on that. What I want to do is, all I really need to do to get rid of the number in the front, because we're already using that, is choose the option without numeration. So it's by default it's set to decimal numbers nested, and that's why you saw a number in front, and then you saw the number nested within the H3 tag. I'll just click without numeration, click save, and update. And what you will see is the numbers are now gone in the front. And this is again a preference, and here you go. So now I have 3 steps to free your dog from anxiety. Here's step 1, 2, and 3, and I can click on any of these and they're gonna send me directly to that portion of the article. And switch it back again. I want to wrap up this section so it's all templatized, so going forward we can utilize this and add as needed. Again, if I had 5 steps, I could just duplicate step 3. So what I will do is I'm going to copy this again, and I'm going to do that same thing for step 2 and step 3. So I'll do a paste 1, 2, and then I'm just duplicating 3. So for step 2 now, we're going to say find an anxiety focused dog expert. And how we're going to do that is we are going to set dog anxiety treatment budget. So set a dog anxiety treatment budget. And in 2, we will call local dog anxiety trainers. And then step 3, narrow our list. So narrow your list of dog anxiety trainers or experts. I think we were going to go with trainers, but this is fine for now. And let's just do one more. So I will duplicate, create a step 4, and I will say set appointment with the best dog anxiety trainer. Perfect. Okay, so now we have step 1. This is how you get step 1 accomplished. Here's step 2. This is how you get step 2 accomplished. Here's step 3, and the same thing for this. So I'll paste 3 of these. And renumber them. And now execute your dog anxiety treatment plan. So this is the part that I really wanted to get to. So here is a good example of where we could start implementing some monetization strategies. So for instance, let's just say step 1 to execute your dog's anxiety treatment plan is to determine or find a dog anxiety medication. So find a dog anxiety medication. Now we could list within the content of this step exactly how to do that. So and not only how to do that, but what we recommend, what our dog has used, maybe something you can get, you know, personal with the experience you've had, if that's the case. And again, this can be any niche. But then you can start, you know, you're not promoting, you're referring people to the medication that worked best for you. Or maybe you created another one of our articles is the top 5, top 10 best anxiety medications. You could say, for more information, internal link to that that URL for that article that you've created. So it's just ways to lead people down. So if you didn't want to promote a product on this page, you could lead them, if they want to get more information about dog anxiety medication, you'll have a link there to your article. And what happens there is, the more, if they get down to this far on the page and they're clicking on that link, and you can actually, we can set tags in Google Tag Manager and actually see where the traffic's coming from, you'll be able to tell what the conversion rate is for someone that's this far down the article who clicked on this link versus a normal person. And the likelihood that the conversion rate is going to be much higher is someone who's read this article and is now engaged. You've built trust with them. Up here, you've given them awesome information. Why shouldn't they, take your advice on this medication? Or maybe we add something here like, find a dog anxiety bed for relaxation, and maybe that vest, we're incorporating some products in here, we'll say, for the execution of our anxiety treatment. Maybe one of them is, work through your goals with your trainer. But again, I'm simplifying this a lot. You don't want to be too, like I said, sales pitch heavy, but there's so much opportunity to add your information or your experience and your recommendation within an article like this. And a lot of people don't notice that. Like, I've seen a lot of the competitors that we're looking at just adding ads to their site, probably making, pennies on the dollar, when they could be promoting something right in that article. And it's very simple, and they could be getting, commission for that. So it's a different take, and that's why it's always so important to figure out what our monetization strategies are. Okay, so I'll just say find dog anxiety meds. Then I can say schedule a weekly meet with your dog anxiety trainer. And then I can walk through what you should do in that meeting, or most likely the dog anxiety trainer or specialist is going to set the tone there, but you can write about that in here, how that experience was if you did it. And then step 3 was, I would say, just as an example, get a comfortable anxiety dog bed to relax. So after we've gone through all of this, your dog's going through a lot. The last step I'll say is get yourself a comfortable anxiety dog bed to relax. And here are the best ones, or here's how to choose one. Here's where they're located. Here are the stores they're located in. This is the one you use. And again, you could write a whole article about this. You could write a single product article about the bed that you have and how much your dog loves it. You could take some snapshots of your dog relaxing in there, add that in. The more personal you get, the more trust you build, and the more engaged your audience and visitors going to be. So I can say, again, I can send them off to that product review. Here's my product. Here's the product that I bought for my dog. He loves it. He's been in this bed. It keeps him nice and relaxed. Here's a picture of him relaxing in it. If you want to check out this full review, I did a full review on this product. If you don't want the full, if you don't like this product, I also have a recommendation of top 10 anxiety dog beds. Here you go. Here's an internal link to that. You know what I mean? So you're driving them down paths that they want to be driven, and the further down that path they go, the more buyer intent there is. So especially if they're clicking on things to learn about products from here. So bring them in, hook them in, give them value, build trust, and then we'll be able to, create some great strategies within here to monetize and generate revenue. Another good practice too is to add additional maybe H4 tags or frequently asked questions. So if we create a very large article, for instance, Yoast will recommend that and you'll be surprised sometimes, like you should add more of your key phrase, your primary key phrase in your article in H4 or one of your H tags, they'll tell you. So a good way to get that if your article is complete is by adding frequently asked questions. You'll see that at the end of a lot of articles, and most of the time it's for that exact reason. Obviously you're still bringing value. These are typical questions. You know, is an anxiety dog bed safe for my dog, or something. You can look on a lot of tools too, SEO tools, and figure out what questions are being asked around this topic, and I somewhat showed you that in Ubersuggest. And there's a few other tools that I'll link here at the bottom for you to utilize if you want to look for questions around this keyword or key phrase, and you'll be able to answer those questions. So if people are looking for those questions in Google or any search engine, and you have that answer plus your article structured in a way that Google already has you pegged as one of the thought leaders on this in this space, you're gonna likely even move up further in the rankings, and you're gonna get more traffic by people searching for those frequently asked questions, and then again they can be hooked into your article here. So a lot of things. This is a pretty long video, but this is one of the most important videos to understand the concepts of, you know, on-page SEO. So I'm gonna click update. I'm not going to add any FAQs or anything yet until we go to Yoast and see what they suggest, but we don't have real content in here yet either, so I'll try to, you know, write up offline maybe some content to put in here to show you how Yoast actually works, you know, when there's an actual article as opposed to that fake 2-sentence article that we looked at last time. So let's just see one more time to make sure that we're setting up our SEO correctly and our tags. Yoast SEO on page. We should have a decent amount of them now. Yep. So this is looking good. We have, again, still the H1 and H2 tags didn't change, but the H3 ones are growing now too. So I have additional steps. You know, finding dog anxiety medication, an anxiety trainer, the best comfortable anxiety dog bed. You can see how this article is turning into a very in-depth, you know, critical information for people who are searching for dog anxiety and want to get relief for their dog. Another good practice is to add an FAQ section at the bottom. So a lot of times I will, and let's do that right now. So there's always people looking for questions or searching for questions in the form of a question anyway on search engines, like, you know, what, how, why type questions. And there's a few tools that I use. One is Answer the Public, the other one's Ubersuggest, and they'll give you some ideas of the questions that you're asking around there. So I'll link those in the description below. You can check those out. It's really cool. You put your keyword in and Answer the Public will actually walk you through. So let me just show you real quick. It'll walk you through kind of the questions being asked around that search term. So if I were to put in, let's say, dog anxiety, that guy's funny. It's gonna bring me to the screen and give me a list of the most popular questions related to dog anxiety. So I'll let that load, and then it'll let you export as well. So it gives you this cool little view of exactly what types of questions they're asking. So what, why, will, when, are, can, how, which, and you can dive into each of those. Then they'll show you prepositions, so near, without, can, to. It's really cool. So I could look into this. In the darker the green, the more common the question is. So dog is anxious here. I could click on that. It's going to bring me right to that search result. That's not really a question really, but can dog have anxiety? That's not super common. Can dog anxiety cause diarrhea? That seems to be a good question. So that could be a good FAQ that we add. Again, I'll leave these links in there. Ubersuggest has the same type of deal, which I somewhat showed you. If you go to Ubersuggest and I search for dog anxiety, I'll see in the results that there's an option to filter by question. So let me just let this load. And if I clicked on all ideas here, or actually I could do it from here, but you can do it from all keyword ideas. But you can see here there's questions. So how to calm dog anxiety. Can dog have anxiety? What causes dog anxiety? These are all good things to add to your articles. And again, when you get to a lengthy article, a lot of times Yoast is going to suggest that you have more H tags that have your key phrase in it, and you're going to wonder, man, this article is long. I mean, I don't want to just keyword stuff. Well, FAQs is a great section for that, and that's why a lot of people use it. So I'm going to create that little section here, and you can do it a few different ways. Sometimes what I'll do is just to mix it up and not be completely in the same kind of format as my article, I'll add a little accordion. So if I go to my elements and I type in accordion, oh, spelled that wrong. You can do these toggles or just a regular accordion. So we'll do just a regular accordion for now. And now I have these, so I could add my FAQs in here, but I do want to add a heading. So I'll go back to my elements and pull in a heading and just call it either FAQs or frequently asked questions. I can't type today. And now what I want to do though is we do want these to be H tags because these are, you know, search intent. So let's add, I'm going to edit this, and by default these are div tags, so we want to actually make them H tags. So I usually will put this as a H3 or H4 depending on if you want it to live in your table of contents. And again, we could update this too. So if you don't want every bullet, say you just want the top level bullets, you could determine that you only want your H2 tags in the table of contents. You don't need to list out your H3s or H4s or anything like that. So I'm gonna, for this example, I'm gonna keep them in the table of contents. So I'll just say, and again, because we have the frequently asked questions as an H2, these will just fall under that in the table of contents. So I will change this div to an H3, and now that updates accordingly. So when I want to put in a question, so going back to Ubersuggest, what causes dog anxiety? That would be a good one. How to calm dog anxiety? Man, that's okay, but this does have a lot more search volume, so I'll just use a couple of these. How to calm dog anxiety, which this article is pretty much about that, so I don't know if there'd be really value to add this extra FAQ, but for this example, just because I had high search volume, I'll add that. How to calm dog anxiety, and then your answer would be within the accordion. And then the second one, let's just say it will be what causes dog anxiety. So what causes dog anxiety? Question mark. And now I have 2 FAQs. So another cool thing is it'll limit the length of your page because it'll only display one at a time in this setting. You can add an icon if you wanted, but I'm just going to keep it as is. This looks good to me for now for our example. Click update. And while that updates, our article will update. And I want to make sure that our tags are being placed properly. So coming down, I now have the frequently asked questions here with those as well. So I could scroll down to those and get that. This is now in here. And when I look at my tags, I should have one more H2, which is FAQ, and more H3s, which are the questions. So here's the frequently asked questions, and now below, how to calm dog anxiety, what causes dog anxiety. So again, this is going to match up perfectly with these common questions, and our structure is set up in such a way that this article should be really fine-tuned to meet the searcher's request. So Google is going to want to rank us high to give them what they're looking for. Coming back, I could also start just filling this in with some placeholders. So let's just remind myself that I want to incorporate images. So I'm going to pull in an image and just put it in any of these just to remind myself, hey, add images within here. They don't have to be huge like this, but we'll keep it like that for now. Then maybe I could maybe have a video. I'm not going to add that right now, but anything that you can do, like I said, images, Google loves that too. So images, they love video, they love infographics, which are images. Anything that's going to, spice up the article, make it more engaging, they like that. And again, when we're adding our image, so if I were to just add another placeholder, let's just add any dog here. I'll do this one. I want to make sure that I'm updating alt text for all of this. So optimize your images for SEO as well. So alt text is how you do that. So in Yoast will tell you this if you're missing any. So if you do forget, always go back to Yoast, and we're going to do that by the end of this video just to see where we're stacking up and where we need to make some more optimizations. So I'll just put in anxious dog or dog anxiety as our keyword. So maybe I'll add that, something related to that. Puppy running with dog anxiety. I don't know. And I'll just insert that for now. So now it's looking a little more engaging. I can adjust this. Maybe I want to make it 2 columns, have an image, and maybe left-hand panel or right-hand panel text. You can mess around with that. That's personal preference. And then I want to maybe remind myself to add links. So if I were to, have an article maybe around, where was it? The dog anxiety treatment. So dog beds. So I could just put in, just to remind myself again, top 10 dog beds. We'll pretend we have an article related to that. And then we'll also pretend that we have an article for this product specifically, or my favorite product. Remember, we talked about potentially talking about the product that we had for our dog that worked well, and your dog loves it, and you have maybe an image like this in here of your dog sleeping in it as an example. That gets personalized. It's bringing reality to your visitor, and you can maybe have a self product review on that. So you could do that. I won't add that one yet because we only need an example here, but what you can do is highlight that and link it, or you could come over here and do the same thing. So highlight this, link it, and I'll just say that it goes to Google for now. Well, actually that would be external. Let's do just our regular home page to remind ourselves. All right, and I'll just say, here we go. So now when you're in the article, you can start seeing that we're getting some more engagement. We're directing them other places. Maybe up here, we send them to a dog anxiety expert. So that would be an external site. So in our text, let's just say, again, I'm adding in content that doesn't make sense, but John is a great trainer that we recommend. Or John's Anxiety Treatment Center. It's a great facility that we recommend. Something like that as an example. This could be an external site. So I could highlight this, and I'll just put in google.com for now. And now you can start to see that, and you can underline it if you want. I typically just keep it like this. You can see as I'm reading, it's looking more and more like a polished article. So we're gonna get the content for these sections. And this, again, being the template that we're creating, is such a great thing to have for outsourcing your articles too. So we're setting this one template, yes, but then when we want to send off, we can create this into a document, and it's already lined up with exactly what we could ask a freelancer to do for us, so we don't have to create our own content. And they're experts around writing and, you know, grammar and all that good stuff. And they're going to be able to put together your article so much easier and better if you can just lay out that foundation for them. And I'm going to show you how to do that in another video when we talk about outsourcing, because again, you want to be running this like a business. I don't want to be coming in here and writing 100 articles. I want to be focused more on the strategy, focused more on bringing value to my customers, and then I know how to do that from a structural standpoint. I know what the keywords and what people are looking for. That's what I want to focus on. And then when I find that, I'll have this layout already, and I just have to replace the layout with my new tags. You send that off to a freelancer in another formatted way that I'm going to show you, with a specific message that you can reuse. Again, I'm a process person, so everything I do is in a structured way when it comes to having something that can scale. So I don't want to have to recreate an email to a freelancer every time. I have a set, and I'm going to provide this for you as well. I have a set message that goes along with a set template or something focused on what I need. And then what I do is I send that to them in a package, or I promote that as a job offering on one of these freelance sites and say, hey, here's what I'm looking for exactly. The more information you have for a writer, the better your article is going to be, because they don't have to think of it themselves. They just have to think about writing great content for you with what you've already outlined for them. So it's super powerful. This is taking a while up front, but this is going to save you thousands of hours in the long run. So don't think that an hour or hour and a half or 2 hour video is too much work, because if you were doing something like this from scratch every single time, then that's a lot of work. This is actually going to speed things up in the long run. All right, so we now have external links, because again, Yoast will recommend those. It's going to be a negative if you don't have any, or if you don't have enough. So we'll see what it tells us when we go back, given the content size. And then we have internal links, so we're linking internally. We are starting to incorporate some images. We've added some alt text, which is SEO optimized for our article. And we have FAQs. We're really making some good progress. I think at this point, I'm going to start shifting over to structure again, and maybe I want to add a right hand column. So that's what I'm going to do next. And then when we get into Yoast and we see what they're telling us from an SEO perspective, we'll make some more iterations to the article. But let's click update so we don't lose this. And I'm going to do my best to share this template with you. So I could have probably told you this in the video, in the beginning of the video, but then you would have skipped it. So I want you to really know what this is about and why we're doing it this way. But I also want to provide you with ease of access so you can get going faster. So I will templatize this and offer it, and all y'all have to do is take the template and import it into your site, and I'll be able to show you how to do that as well. Okay. But before I get into adding a column and adding widgets within a right-hand column, I did want to show you quickly, if you come down to settings, because I'm not liking this template here with key phrases, because everything else I am relating to dog anxiety. So I want to change this, say, let's just say I want to change it to how to prevent dog anxiety for any type of breed, something like that. That would work. And what else I could do is add an excerpt here. So within the site, this is different than the actual meta description, but this will, around the site, add a little snippet of information about that article in certain places where you're displaying the article. Also, you could change your featured image here. You could hide your title. So sometimes people will hide the title and add it manually, like we talked about before. What else? So basically you can make the same edits that you can from the generic WordPress editor. And that's what we did earlier, but I just wanted to show you this option as well. So now that we have that, I'm going to click update, and while that's updating, we're going to start building just another option that I think is helpful, because it gives your reader ways to navigate your site to different articles, and you can recommend specific articles. You can add maybe a search field for them to search for different articles. You can add a form maybe on the side. This is where a lot of people place their ads. If they're getting a lot of traffic, they can add their Google ads to here, or Amazon ads or whatever. And we'll show you how to do that in a different monetization video. But there's a couple of reasons why I like to do that. One, again, user experience. They're able to see more of what you offer. It gives them a better sense of what your niche is about, what your blog is about. It gives them the ability to search quicker. We could also add a search in the header, but we'll just stick with the right-hand panel within blog posts for now. Also, it narrows down the article. So studies have shown that people actually like to read blog posts if they're more narrow as opposed to a full length. Another thing to note is they prefer short paragraphs. So even these paragraphs, when I shrink this down, you'll notice that they're a little long. People like 2-sentence paragraphs when reading online. There's been a ton of studies and statistics to show that data. So we want to, perform the best we can. So we're going to optimize everything that way as well. So when I add this column, it's going to shrink down. We're going to give a better user experience because they'll be able to see more and navigate better. We're going to shrink it down. They're going to like the article better in the sense that it's not as wide, so it's shorter, just like they like. And then we'll start to ensure that we're creating content in short paragraph form. It's another thing that I'll add, and most writers on Fiverr or any of those outsourced companies, freelance companies or websites, they already know this because they're told that on a consistent basis. So they'll probably do it most of the time without you even telling them, but always add that into your template for when you reach out for outsourcing. And we're just going to make some changes that are going to benefit everyone. So us, we have more flexibility on what we can offer them. We have better user experience for them reading, better user experience for them to navigate. So that's the next step on what we're going to do. And to do that, we have to go back to our WordPress customizer. So I'll go back up here to the hamburger, click exit to dashboard. It'll bring me back to the generic WordPress editor where I could actually quickly look at the readability analysis, SEO analysis. Obviously both need improvement. We have a lot of fake Lauren Ipsum in there. Here's where we also initially added our feature image that I mentioned. We can edit our title here still, and I can come down quickly just to give a little view of the analysis. So you can see where actually outbound links are there, good job. Internal links are there, good job. Text length, good job. It's Lauren Ipsum though. SEO title with good job. But we have, again, we don't have a word in here though. So when we make that, it'll give us a lot more detail. So we're not going to get into this, but this is how it starts to unfold once we start adding actual content to the site. But in this case, we want to go back and add a column. So I'm going to go click back into my WordPress dashboard, come down to settings, or sorry, appearance, and customize. Now I'm in my customizer. First thing I'm going to do is click sidebar. Blog posts is default, and their default is none. So we're going to add a right sidebar. And you're not going to see a change here because we're not on a blog post. So I'll just click on the one that we have for Hello World. And you can see now that I have an initial right-hand panel. So if I were to click publish, come back out to my article, refresh, I now have a right-hand panel. So now my article is a little slimmer. You can see the paragraphs look a little bigger, so we're going to want to change that. Still have my table of contents, and my article is looking a little more readable from a standpoint of, again, given we're very H tag heavy with minimal content, you're going to see a lot of boldness, but as we build this out, it's going to look a lot better. And we could also edit how lengthy we want these, but we'll keep this as is. I have a little search. By default, these are the default widgets that they've added within your right hand column. We're going to change this so we don't need everything. Maybe we have recent posts, maybe we don't. Maybe we have recent comments, not likely. Archives, not likely. Categories, perhaps. Meta, no. So we're going to add some other stuff that we think is relevant. And again, once we get to monetization strategies like adding ads, you could place that here. We can add a form here to opt into our newsletter. We can do a lot of things. There's a lot of options here. So that's what we're going to do next. So that was that easy to add a right-hand column. And now we want to edit this right-hand column. And note, this is also somewhat of a preference too. So, I mean, this isn't to say that everyone loves this format. If you prefer not having a right-hand column, there's plenty of blogs out there that don't have one. Okay, so let's go edit this right-hand column. I'm going to come back to my customizer, and you can see right here, each one has an edit option. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the edit option, and I'm going to remove a lot of these because I'm not going to use recent comments. I don't want to have archives. I'll keep categories for now. Actually, I'm going to remove it for now, and if I add some and want to add it back later, depending on how many categories I have, I can add that back, but I'll remove it for now. Meta, remove. And now I have just the search. I always like having a search bar just in case they're looking for something specific. It can come up within the results. And I also like recent posts. So we'll keep that for now as well. What you're going to want to do is eventually add some things to this. So to do that, you're going to add a widget. We're not going to really add anything at this point, but here's where you would add like a subscription form. We don't have any right now. We only have that contact form, which is a little too long. And it's the one that asks them basically for consulting. So you could, in theory, add that. Maybe we'll just add it to see what it looks like. I could title it, "Need help? Contact us." And select my form, inquiry. And it's gonna load. And then you'll see it display right here. So "Need help, contact us." And then, like I said, it's a little too long for what I like. I like to just add a subscription or join our newsletter type post or form where you can just ask for an email, because it's a lot tougher to get someone to fill out a longer form. I'd rather capture their email and then market to them with our email campaigns to kind of bring them back to our site and get them engaged, as opposed to just asking them for a bunch of information about their pet. Especially if it's the first time they come here, it's very unlikely that they're going to want to submit this form right away. So I'll go ahead and remove this. I just wanted to show you how that works. When we create an actual subscription form or email subscriber form, we'll add that in here. So now we at least have the column and we know we can add some widgets. So that's good. Another thing that you could do is add your personal information. So if you're really promoting yourself too and you are that expert, you could have like a quick little headshot here and "About me." I like that. And then that leads to a "Learn More," which would bring them to your About page. Just something that's not, like I said, directly salesy. It's more of getting acclimated with you and building that relationship. So that's actually a good option as well. But I actually want to get a simple form in here that will capture my visitor's email address. So let's go and create one really quick. I'm going to go back to my dashboard and I'll come down to WP Forms and I'll click on this, and you're just going to see that one inquiry form that's in here by default, and that came with a template. So I'm going to click Add New. And what I could do is create a blank form, but newsletter sign up form is pretty simple. So let's just do that. And this is just going to give me a quick little template to start with, and it'll only be name and email address. So okay, name, first name, last name. I want to make this form as simple as possible. So one, I could even remove name completely by deleting here, but I will actually edit this and just make it a simple name. So now it's just whether or not they want to provide me with full name or first name, they can, and then they can also put in their email address, because that's really what I want. I can make these required, which they are, and now I'm just going to click Save, Embed, which I don't need to do. So let's not even do that, because now that we've saved this, if I go back to my forms, I should have an additional newsletter sign up form, which I do. And if I wanted to add it into any area, I could use the short code, but if you remember correctly, it gives us the option to select a form in our customizer. So I'll hop back over here. I'm going to go into click on anything within the right hand panel. It'll automatically bring me back to the main sidebar here where I can add a widget. And I'm going to click F5 first just to make sure that new form is in here, because it doesn't automatically update, I don't believe. All right, so let's do that again. I'm going to come in. It's going to bring me back here. Let me go back into the blog post, right hand column, click Edit, Add Widget. I'm going to scroll down to WP Forms, Display Form, Newsletter Sign Up Form. Let that load. And now I have this form here. So what I could do, I want to make this second. So now I have a little search. I can mess with the formatting of this later, but now I have an option to get someone's email address. I'll add a title, get dog anxiety tips or something like that. And that'll update. And that's just a simple way to add something to the right hand column that allows us to, you know, get our visitors information in an easy way. So I'll click publish. For time's sake, again, I'm not gonna edit this, but I don't like the short, tall form fields here, but I'll clean that up later. All right, and now if I go back here, click F5, this should update. It should be simple. There we go. So now when someone comes, how to prevent dog anxiety for any type of breed. Here's the 3 steps to free your dog from anxiety. Here's the layout or the table of contents. These are the steps. These are the inner steps to get this step complete. We have some external links. We have more steps to get step 2 complete. And then we're adding some images. We're spicing it up a little. We have some internal links to other articles. We have FAQs. And again, we can make this sticky too, or do some stuff with the right-hand column so it's always displaying if we wanted to. Just a lot of options to get here. And now we have the ability to, again, create ads. Maybe you create a digital product and you want to promote it here. You put your own little promotion here with a little maybe book cover on it. Maybe you created an ebook. That would be something that I would highly recommend for like a niche like this. Is I've done very well with products like that where you're creating all this content anyway. What you can do is build an ebook based on the first 5 articles that we're creating, send that off, get that created into an ebook, and then promote the ebook. So you have all of your content not in the same form, but basically utilizing a lot of content that you've already got created and turning it into an all-out ebook to sell on Amazon, sell on your site. Easy ways to do that, and we'll get into that again as a monetization strategy to create your own digital product. Maybe you want to create a simple course to prevent dog anxiety. So many options, and we're going to get into all of them. So this is the basics of templatizing your site. It's not the real content yet. That's what we're going to do next, which is, now that we have the format down, we have a template to use, we can start sending off. Unless you want to be creating your first articles, I suggest that we run this more like a business, try to get out of the writing business and again doing everything on our own, but using people and experts that can help us out to build out these articles and for us with our expertise on what to focus on and which topics and what structure, because a lot of that isn't writers' expertise. Their expertise is actually writing the content, and there are some great writers out there who also know the intricacies of SEO, but for the most part, you want to be that expert. You're driving that, and we'll start creating some awesome articles to be found on Google and earning us income at the same time. Okay, so to wrap up the formatting of the right-hand column, I do want to extend this over so it looks a little better. To do that is super easy. So let me just go over to WordPress forms, click on the form that we just created. And what we're going to want to do is do a couple of things. One, I want to either just hover over either of the fields and you'll see you can edit. Click on it, left click, and go to advanced. And what you need to do is simply making it large, and that'll expand it to the end. And I'm going to add placeholder text as well. So I'm going to say name here, and now you can see it enters into the field itself, but the default value is blank. So when someone clicks on this, and I'll show it to you live, then they'll be able to type their name in. And I'm going to hide the label because I don't like having long forms. I think it performs better the shorter it is and the less fields that you have. So I'm going to hide the label, and I'm going to do the same thing for email. So email, advanced, large, and now it's extended, placeholder text, email, hide label, and now I have a shorter form. It looks a lot easier to fill out, and I'll go with that. I'm going to click save, and this should automatically update within our article. So I'll go back, click F5, and there you have it. It's now longer, and there are no red asterisks or additional titles. It's just name, email, submit. And if I click in here and start typing, it's going to remove that name, just like we talked about. Same with email. So two things before I leave this page. One, get dog anxiety tips. It's not a great pitch to get someone to fill in their stuff, so be cognizant of what you're putting here. I'm going to keep it as is because this is just a template. But also the form itself, we use that WP form. I suggest, and my recommendation is to use an email marketing tool like Aweber or GetResponse, and you would be able to embed that form in here similarly to how we did this. So that would be my recommendation. There's just more flexibility with those tools, and there are WordPress plugins, and there's ways to email your audience with this form by getting this form and sending them automated emails. But again, there's way more flexibility with the proven email marketing tools that are out there that cost money, but they're well worth it in my opinion. So we'll get into that more when we get into email marketing. So okay, hopefully this all makes sense. I think we're making a lot of great progress, and I know this video has already been long, like I said, but I'm gonna now utilize this template to create the last two templates, so those are gonna go much faster. We already have this set. This is gonna be the same. A lot of this is gonna be the same, but I do wanna show you the small differences that happen within your article when you have 3 different templates. So this is the how-to template, if you remember. Now I'm going to show you quickly how to turn this how-to template into a single product review, and also how to turn these templates into a rank list review or article. Because again, how-tos, product review, product rankings are the 3 most lucrative formats and the 3 most lucrative article types in my opinion. So those are the 3 that I'm going to teach you. So I'll take this template, come back to my WordPress dashboard, and I'll utilize this this article that we just created as a template and create 2 additional templates in a much shorter period of time. Having said that, this will wrap up the first of the 3 videos and the first of the 3 templates. So hopefully you get a lot out of this. In the next video, we're going to create a top ranking list, and we'll start with this template and just make iterations to meet that criteria. So it should go quicker. So leave a comment, let us know what you thought. If you need any help, just reach out and join our Facebook group, leave a comment there and engage, and we'll see you in the next video. All right, thanks everyone.